Hey, Mitch, what are you doing up so early? Good morning. Rise and grind, rise and shine, everybody. What's up? It's your online social worker out here pouring in use late and show up in a way that honors where you are. I am here to let you know I'm excited about today. There's some amazing things taking place. You guys have been on a journey with me when life has been really, really ugly. And so that is why it's very important that we as an online community really normalize if things are not working well. At the same token, you guys, rising up in purpose, I am really heavy, heavy hitting on how our biggest pain points in our life, it really fuels our purpose. And when we think about purpose on this morning, it is about how and why you and I wake up this morning. Why on earth am I here? The book. If you cannot get excited about your rising this morning, let's talk about that because there's a divine assignment taking place. When I'm up in the morning, I'm doing my meditation, I'm doing my prayers. I am just really in awe of how the world is quiet in the wee hours. I also realize people who are successful, however they define that, they get up early. Their prayer life is intact. They go within themselves, right? And really release some things and they really learn how to live in the moment. Some of you guys that are not vibrating at the capacity in which you should is perhaps you are overthinking, you are taking on worries that don't belong to you, and you just do not rise up in gratitude. And if you don't feel like you have a sense of purpose and where you're going, every day can feel like a same dreadful day. Then you go to the office, y'all grab the coffee, and everybody in that circle is talking about how dreadful the job is, how dreadful life is, your love life, your finances. But somebody in the camp has to say, girl, this is not the end. And what I know about social workers and soul workers, heart center people, we are committed to everyone else. But when it comes to what we need to be doing, we kind of lackadaisical. I'm excited about what's taking place. And I want to give you guys, some of you guys that have like the questions, I get emails and people are like, I really don't know what my purpose is. Some of you guys are, many of you guys are heart centered, meaning you're a social worker, a coach, the go to aunt, or whatever. And on your journey, especially since COVID, a lot of heart centered people have been more and more burnt because you realize now that you have been holding space for people that don't belong to you. Maybe you realize you've been enabling people. Maybe you've been the strong woman, which means you've been doing all the heavy lifting. And since COVID, you burned yourself out. Whatever that awareness is, let's just honor at least you're aware of how much you've been doing for so many people. And let's lean into this idea. What you do does not have to be cookie cutter. It's not a one size fit all. Some of you guys know that on the journey you change certain things, but did you know that there's so much guidance and wisdom and coaching and consulting that's needed out there? You guys are asleep on a lot of opportunities. If you are in the season of your life where you know working 40 hours is draining, you trying to navigate health and all of these different things. And I'm always puzzled by people that know so much information but don't share it with anybody. When you're operating in your purpose and your call, you begin to feel a sense of reward. Like when I get up, I'm excited. There was times when I was sick, I couldn't get up, depression, all of these different things was hitting me that I get excited about the restoration and keeping power. I get excited how my life was saved in car accidents with me and my baby. I get excited about what God has done for me. And some of you guys need to tap back into your yesterday. Like, what are you grateful for? What surgery did he get you through? The many times you've been on the airplane, he's kept you. And you got to hold on to that and walk in that. So that way you are encouraging yourself right now. So let's go over some questions. Asking, how do I find my call? All right, we're going to zip through them. And I have some amazing things coming up that I want to share with you guys. I won't probably have time to do too many, but let's get this coffee in. And one thing I want to tell you guys, if you're on a journey of self-discovery, meaning I'm discovering who I am right now, there's some little changes that taking place within me. Things that I used to find fulfilling no longer is fulfilling. Conversations I used to have no longer tickle my fancy. That means I'm discovering who I am on this new journey, right? When you're on in that experience, it's very critical to how you safeguard your temple. That means that you can't just go to lunch or dinner with anybody. You can't be on the phone and texting and being all distracted all over the place in this season, because that's what really keeps you from sustaining moving forward for yourself. You get distracted with the next person's stuff, right? You get over here, you get pushed over here. And a lot of you guys promised yourself that this was going to be your year. We hear that every year. How can the next kiddos, the next legacy behind us, the next generation behind us come to you for wise counsel when you 50, 60, 70 years old, 40 years old, still trying to figure out who's talking about you? You're not going to get to the promise without the pain and the pressure. We know that already. All right. We just want to be mindful about how you minimize the gift on your life because you want it to look a certain way. You want it to smell a certain way. You want people to jump on board with it. When you're called to do something, and we're going to jump in here, how to kind of discover the call on your life. You're not going to be popular. There's a whole bunch of people that God is going to assign to your life. If he haven't already, he's revealing some things to you that people are going to bless you. You will miss it if you over here looking and begging and pleading with other people that you know to show up for you in the way that they haven't been willing to, right? And you over here wanting it from over here, and God is saying, I got what you need over here. Can I have a window seat? Because I don't want nobody sitting next to me, right? Erykah Badu. And sometimes when you have that window seat, you looking outside, and as I'm in airplanes all the time, I'm just so amazed about the higher the altitude, how the landfills all look the same. So like when we're on the ground, you can kind of segregate the communities, like this is gated community, this is where you don't want to live, this is where you shop, this is where you don't want to shop, right? That's just how the world works, right? But as we're going all, we're elevating higher. Let's use this airplane analogy. As you're going higher, you're at that window seat, because I love window seats in airplane, because it takes me to how things are just so like natural in nature. You know, at some part you start seeing the clouds, and then you can see the people backyards and pools and different things. And as the elevation goes higher and higher and higher, the altitude continues to go up. Everything starts to look all the same, right? And that's what God looks. He looked down on us as all the same, right? There's no classism. Oh, you live over here, you're better. You live over here, you're not as great. That's what the world does. And if you're not careful, you know, you've been to events, you're networking, you're talking about the new car, you're talking about your social classism, your credit score, who you married to, all of the things. You know, I've always been an observant person of people's energies. It's not to say that they're always bad, but it's just I know that I really value good-hearted people. So when I hear somebody going heavy on who they are, what they are, me being on a journey of 25 years and getting sick and the whole world switch up, a person who defines themselves and their purpose based on what they have, they're not rooted in substance. These are the people, when they get laid off, they lose a home, they lose their mind, they just lose their whole identity, right? They lose it because now you don't see them showing up at the social events, because either I have to lie or I have to pretend, which is lying, about who I am and what I am. And this is why I'm telling you guys, some of your biggest things that you're holding on to and you're feeling ashamed about, you don't want nobody to know. Well, I'm not going to fit in because it doesn't align with what's going on. Then you are sitting up there holding yourself hostage, a whole mental prison that you're holding yourself up to. You know, you over here with the red bottoms, baby, your feet hurt, your back hurt, the whole nine. There's nothing wrong with red bottoms. Don't get me wrong. I'm just using examples of how we forge ourselves to be in the click of things. And it really not honoring who you are as an authentic person that's screaming to get out. This is why you hear me. And you guys, I don't know if you need to grant StreamYard permission so I can see your comments, because we're talking. And I want to really encourage you. You have to go heavy in encouraging yourself in the morning. Lord, I thank you. And we talked about yesterday, getting your home in order. It doesn't mean anything other than acknowledging the energy that your home is bringing you right now. If it's not the right spirit or energy, you got to do some things, and you got to do them quickly. This is why a lot of you guys, some of y'all workaholics, you prefer to be at work, running from stuff at home where you pay your rent and your mortgage at. Run the tape back. You should be able to rest your head, whether that cable turned off or whether you got hot link sandwiches going on right now. And you running outside of your dwelling place looking for peace. You run into these trips, maxing out your credit cards for peace. But when you come lay your head back at your crib, you're reminded of the stress. You don't have to keep running from your dwelling place looking for peace. That is how you get financially and spiritually broke, because you're trying to find joy and peace on the inside of you in external behaviors. This is why a lot of you guys change relationships. You're not really committed to a friend. You're not even committed to yourself. You're not committed to anything that you start. But my business owners, why are you jumping in and out of business? I'm up here early in the morning, successful people up. This man out here high pressure washing the sidewalks at the complex, and literally he have a 7-year-old with him. They still on Easter break. That's legacy. That's legacy. You over here working super hard and you got a whole team at your house. Oh, I ain't gonna wake them up. They move slow. Well, apply pressure. Because when they want the phones and all of the bells and whistles, oh, baby, they're getting up. Mom and daddy went to the store. They know the sales. Oh, baby, them kids is 6, 7 years old. They know when the cell phone sales is popping off. And you over, I don't have no support. I just don't have nobody that will support me. Sweetie, can I have a window seat? Because you don't need nobody sitting next to you right now. That what you pay attention to, right? It's like sitting up there watching the pot boil. You got your eyes on that one thing and you waiting for it to boil. When there's a whole life on this side, there's a whole life. And I'm telling you, how you vibrate, how you walk through life, whether you got to crawl out the bed, slide to the left, slide to the right. That's what you're going to attract. People going to start saying, you know what, Sister Cornbread, you changed. And you say, you know what, thank you. Don't allow your mind to go to asking people all these questions, because you should know you by now. Yes, I know I changed. For some of my uncertain people, the first thing you're going to do is, how did I change? What do you mean? Did I say something wrong? What do you think I'm acting funny? Because you're looking for that unsurety and security and validation in the response of other people. Now, just imagine that you've been depressed. You're going through some things. You've been through some things. You're wise enough to know life be lifing. You also wise enough to know that you're going to get through this, right? And for some of you guys, you hear people all the time complaining, well, people do too many selfies. Says who? You don't know what it took for a person to get up out the bed. And you sitting up passing judgment. Or maybe it's not you doing that, but you experience people to be talking real negative about people all the time. Steer clear from those people. People that can saturate in the deficits of other people, they're not happy. The reason why they can tell you about all R. Kelly court dates and all of why Rihanna tell with her and what's going on over here and what's going on over there, because they don't have a moral compass for themselves. A lot of the work that I'm doing, y'all don't see me online. I love coming online, communing with y'all and chopping it up. But the real work, I got to log off. This is real work. Don't get me wrong. But the more intentional work and me listening to people and guiding them from the island of where they are to the island of where she needs to be or want to be and need to be, it's going to take me to log off. So, what is something when we're talking about finding your calling and your purpose? What is something that you need to log off from? It's not necessarily where I'm talking about just social media, logging off from negative thoughts, self-defeating thoughts, just spinning your way through life, right? Kind of expecting so many things from other people that cannot deliver it to you. It's like asking the mailman to come deliver mail, and you asking that from, let's say, you asking that from the solar panel people. I'm picking people that always knocking on our doors. Or you asking the mailman, can you deliver my solar panels? That's not their lane. And then you start feeling inadequate because they can't deliver it. Well, baby, that's just not their forte. And if you're not rooted and that you're worthy, I don't care what's popping off. God knows. God knows. And so when you are expecting your boss and all of the different people to validate you and say this, that, and the third, and you haven't went in heavy for yourself, let's break it down. What do I love to do? I want you to think about your hobbies, your interests, something that naturally comes to you. You know how to do it in your sleep. That's number one. These are different questions to ask yourself to pull out your calling. It's been winking at you the whole time, way back to childhood. It might look different, but the core message is usually always around the same core values that's poured into you. You can tolerate people more, right? You can hear people heavy traumatic stories and journeys where the other person is like, oh my God, how can you do that? That's a sign that you're called to do that. I was blessed to be with the millennials, my daughter, my first cousin, and their friend. I experienced a day with them, and what happened is my daughter was like, you know what, I'm gonna hang out with you, and I said, I thank you for that, because I want to give her a piece of my world, and then I got to experience a peak of their day to day, and it was so absolutely moving. It was moving. And part of what we discovered about each other is what people are good at. And so my daughter in the nursing industry, she talked about how, she can do CPR on people and the cold blue and it doesn't bother her. Whereas my first cousin is the Lord is elevating her as well. She got promoted and will be starting pretty soon. And it's her birthday month. And she's treating herself to Hawaii this month. So being in their company, seeing the young people go forward, it really blessed my day. And Cuz was like, you know what? I don't know if I can do that. I would pass out. I'm like, I'm with you. Right? So knowing what you're good at. And so when we're talking about what do I love to do? What do I love to do? Think about hobbies and interests and recreational stuff, things that you wouldn't mind volunteering doing if you had the time to do it, right? That's number one. You have to be mindful of things that you naturally do. And sometimes, you guys, you don't realize that's what you're doing because it comes natural. And if you really need some insight, ask people you love and trust and say, like, I think I'm known. And for my young people, I'm spending a lot of time with my millennials, y'all. They are hungry for mentorship and guidance. The one thing I can say was spending a day with them yesterday, they're super wise. They're go-getters. The plans that they have this summer, the businesses that they're building in silence, they're not out here all loud with it. I even, one of them seen that I keep cars. I'm old school, right? And we were at breakfast and we had massages the whole night. We had an amazing time yesterday. We will be doing it more often. And so I told them, I said, hey, I like y'all get down. Y'all gassing me up. I go, y'all court me in the set. Court me in the set because they normalizing trips that I haven't been able to take at 51 years old. And guess what? Ain't there one of them pulling out no credit card. They're cashing out. Why? Because they know the value of sweat equity. I'm putting in work now. to fund my vision of doing this later. Some of us was raised on layways, right? And that's where the art of discipline was formed until we got beside ourselves. Well, because of layaway, I ain't feel wait for no, but I want it now. How is that working for your mental health, your financial health, right? And so kicking it with them yesterday. And one thing I can say, I just need to go there. I know when I was in my 20s and, the budget was all jacked up, I don't even know if I was into tipping people. It's like I barely can afford this Happy Meal. But even experiencing the young people yesterday, they had some major tips. They had some qualifying factors when we had the massage, when we were something. I just really enjoyed them because the places that they exposed me to is places I never even heard of. And their tip game was royal. So some of you guys know about the art of reciprocity. You pour in, you're going to get back. Now, some people in your 20s, you be like, they supposed to do that. No, I love that about them. And so for some of you guys, you on social media, you got family, kids, nephews, whatever. All they hear is loved ones. All they hear is the entitlement generation. All you hear is violence and drama. What does that represent to the young ladies that I was able to kick it with yesterday that's vibrating against all the stigmas? Somebody got to pay attention to them. Some of y'all on here gonna learn from them if you slow down and understand that God uses and equip and qualify based on his life assignment for our life. And you over here with they too young, they can't tell me nothing. Says who? So you on the board of trustees with God now? You prayed for it. He sent a youngster to you. Oh, well, they can't tell me nothing. Who you think helping me run the business that I got? My grandkids, my Baileys, my Dominique, my Shanes. Ain't nobody 30. They in their 20s. College educated. Of course, my grandbabies is still in elementary. That is what we call about legacy building. Moving myself out the way. Some of you guys waking up in stress because you got all this stuff on your plate. Why did you set it up that way? Probably because you had to. Some of us was raised to be hustlers, just getting it done by any means necessary. And now you wise and saying, you know what? I'm hustling backwards. There's power in investing in people to be on your team. I take in interns, right? And I give them assignments that's going to challenge them. On the back end, I got to put in a lot of upfront investment. They learn a little bit different. It's when they sign up and show up and align with my core values, I can take somebody open to be coached with no experience over anybody with experience that you can't tell them nothing. And what happened is people throw them away. They throw them away. Oh, well, they don't move fast enough. They don't type fast enough and all that. That's fine. I used to be that person on welfare to work where people write me off. Oh, she ain't going to be able to catch it. She got that mindset. That's what I heard people say. And they were so gutter with it. They wasn't gossiping behind my back. Now, me being me, y'all know the street people. Y'all know how we get down. You talking that good game, we could pat out when you come to my town. But wisdom will tell you, even though you can go ahead and catch fade with them, you matured in that, Tasha. Why you think the same people that was running their mouth on the back end, can you show me how to get it? I like the flexibility in where well, actually, they don't give God credit. I have to turn around and spin the block on them. It's not me. When God give me something to do in this season of my life, because I can hear more clear because the noise is gone. Oh, baby, I'm walking full throttle. I'm normalizing this come up, this freedom, this when my grandmama had to clean for them people. I'm not finna ever forget that. Your purpose is bigger than you. And you waking up defeated, hanging out with defeated people, eating defeated pancakes, and hot dogs and all of that madness. It is power and understanding. Lord, I am good at this. What are you good at? You hear, well, I'm good at helping people do this, but I don't want, break up with the but. Because if you got to shrink yourself after all you've been through in order to be understood, then that means we have to have a conversation. And the conversation won't hurt. When I was gassing these young ladies up, I mean, I'm telling you, one of them got alert with the credit score done jumped up to 700 and such and such. There's a home buyers workshop coming up. I'm already done sent. If y'all not on my email, get on talktotasha.com. Get yourself on my email because we're sending out emails as they come in with resources. I'm sending them out. And so the home buyer workshop, they're hungry. You don't have to remind people. When you're hungry and starving like Marvin, sweetheart, you don't need nobody to remind you. You're paying attention. School is in session. The School of Higher Learning. I don't have time to think about who else don't own nothing. Some of y'all out of towners, you telling me the market is out of control. Why you not driving to Fresno to go to the home buyer workshop? Oh, well, I don't live over there. Well, baby, expand your mindset, Debo. Who said you had to move here? How about you have an investment property? How about that? Can you entertain that God will switch you? I'm a living witness. How many you need? Can you entertain the thought? Can you really entertain the thought that if he took a Section 8 woman like me, and y'all know we was talking in Bible study last night, baby, good comes from the hood because we're resourceful. That's where we learn how to survive and live and thrive and use our multiple skills. But some of y'all out here only showing the deficit-driven side of serving God. When at the games, you water it down. I don't want them to think I'm bragging. Hey, Miss Ignite, transformative ministry. So you see, she out here. A lot of us, we run from our call, but that call probably kept her up at night. She had to bump her head, and she said, bump that, Lord, I'm finna walk in this thing, right? So imagine if Ignite Transformative Ministry didn't ignite the call on her life. Imagine if I didn't get sick, I would have been comfortable still at that job. And Lord knows, I love what I do as a social worker. Because I was the one, I will break up with the paperwork, baby. I'm down in there. And just understand, God covered me 25 years, not only in California correctional systems, but in people's homes. We don't have mace, guns, God covering. And I'm having tough conversations with people down through the years. Now everybody punking out. Now you got to be wise with it. But when you're called, he equips you, covers you. He gives you the words to say and how to say. You get to read and discern people's energies. They like, when you go into their house and you child welfare, you coming with the white van, you finna remove their kids. No, I'm not. My job is to help them change their thinking about themselves according to God's word. And you know, in the workplace, we're not out here trying to push, because God is not for sale. But the energy inside of me, letting them know, sharing part of my testimony, I can make it. While the family judging you because you had a baby at 14 and 15, God is using you. And if you believe that lie, that's why you laid up. And you keep attracting relationships that reinforce the brokenness that you believe for yourself. Y'all got to get sexy with this. You got to walk courageously in it, baby. Mismatched socks and all. Okay? You got to get excited about why he chose for you to get up. He don't see you like you see yourself. All right? Let me get through these. One of them is, what do you love to do? Number 2, recall an event when you were so absorbed in what you were doing that you completely lost track of time. Lost track of time. You can do it. I get excited. with the different things that I do and what you do, and you lose track of time. That's a peek at your call. Number 3, what do you do naturally well? What actions are super easy for you? I'm around accountants. My good friend is attorney, pediatricians, full-time 24/7 moms. They have the temperament and patience to deal with little people all day. They naturally do it. What stresses me out, what stresses you out is the next person call. And that's why we were built in community. Some of you guys are overextending yourself. Perhaps it's time for you to start igniting. Get with Ignite Transformative Ministry and ignite your gift. Link up with the next person gift. And together we make this happy meal, if you will, right? And I know some of us was raised to do it all. But God is showing you, you was in the homeroom of life. Y'all remember homeroom when we were coming up? Start point, and then the bell would ring. We would get dispatched to our different periods. So part of our upbringing, we were in homeroom. Now God is dispatching you. But you want to take the homeroom with you, the homeboys with you, right? And he said, you go to room 24. You go to room 5. And you sit there and get what you need in that season. And then when the bell ring and I transfer you, you got to be ye ready. You sitting there with, no, it's cold. It's too early. It's too hot. It's too expensive. Baby, if you don't work 10, 15, 20, 30 years and don't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of, what's expensive, sweetheart, is going forward with that same thing after history done showed you we got to do something different. What's expensive if you telling yourself and your family operating in lack and limitation that you can't afford to buy a house because your income is fixed? The fight that we have, we just celebrated Easter, right? The resurrection. The fight was fixed when you came to Christ. So if the fight is fixed, you over here minimizing that don't go together. So what the world say you need is criteria, credit score, this in your bank account, and all of these things. God supernaturally spin the block. You gonna believe what the man say, or you gonna operate in what he's telling you to do? When I was going to the home buyer workshops back in the day, baby, I was the only chocolate woman, only black woman in there. It was one black guy. Baby, they had all kind of properties. Their normal conversations was, hey, do you know a maintenance man? Do you know some tenants? People have properties all over the state and out of state. I was taking it in. I didn't have time to wait and see if the homegirl wanted to go. I didn't even have time to see if my husband wanted to go. I was getting off work early. Some of y'all got to, y'all so committed to some of the wrong things sometimes. You got to see value. You got hours on the books or don't have hours on the books. Sometimes you need to get off early to invest in yourself and go to some of this information by yourself. Don't bring that distracted friend, cousin, or sister. You go shake hands and look at balls and get the information that you need. So that is going to be very critical for your growth. You got to do something different. And whatever you naturally do well, I want you to practice sharing that out loud. The mindset that tell you bragging, I want you to ask God to help you with that. Because if you're an ambassador for Christ, you're an ambassador. How can you be an ambassador if you're a silent ambassador? We don't even know you exist. But you're talking about all your problems. And if I didn't know Christ and all I hear you complaining all the time, and you tell me you're a believer, I'll be like, I don't know if I want to sign up for that. Every time I look at you, you're going through something, right? But be okay with just naturally talking about how you bring value to the lives of people, whether you event organizing, you're good with babysitting, whatever that looks like. I told you guys yesterday, if you haven't thought about anything that you can consult and coach in, please get on the call with me. I can tell you in my sleep some of the areas that we need up out here. And you can really take your financial self-care to a different level if you're coachable and really taking what I'm telling you and showing you. You can spin the block. You the one putting out fires in the family right now. It's called conflict resolution. Okay? And you making your gift really segregated to your family. And somebody over here in another state, they want to reconcile with this other person. And you haven't stepped out as a conflict resolution mediator. Oh, well, I didn't go to college. You know, coaching is not a regulated field, right? All right. So you don't need all of that. Your lived experience is your PhD. Quit playing. What are 5 things in your life, past, present, which you are super proud of? Did you get through some stuff? Did you get through a hysterectomy? You found the remedies, girl, to get your hormones together? That means you're an expert in that. Did you get through a divorce? Did you get through college, the first in the family? Did you drop out of college and forgave yourself for believing that you're not a failure? So that's a mindset shift that you help people with. During inflation, you gotten creative with your grocery budget. That's a skill. Anything that you've gone painful, amazingly bright, the lack thereof, it's a teachable moment if you set it up that way. Is there a cause or a movement or idea that you feel committed to and passionate about? What would you put it all on the line for? For my advocates out there, the mass incarceration of our people. That's something that, oh, right? That is your thing. If that's your thing, probably on a commercial, you're watching TV, you're on social media, it could be a whole room of something. You're naturally going to gravitate to a conversation or notice a commercial that has to do with that inequality. That's your purpose at you. Somebody that they're calling is a food ministry or something else, they're going to pay attention to something that kind of feeds to their purpose. So just be mindful when you're saying, well, how come I always notice this? That's your purpose winking at you. The number 6, I want you to think of a time when you experienced a breakthrough. Can you describe what you were doing and where you were when you had a aha moment? You were like, aha, okay, I get it. With me, 25 years of serving, you guys hear me say this all the time. The aha moment came to me in the hospital. I have depleted, given, well intended, but it didn't mean that I was being obedient. What do I do when I get sick and the count is just dried out? And the Lord charged me with serving differently, charged me with serving higher, not harder. It was a download in my spirit I can't even describe. So where was your aha moment for you? What is the time that you through and you said, wait a minute, I know I've been ignoring some stuff, but this right here is speaking to me clearly? Wherever that aha moment, I want you to sit with that and flush that out on your paper. And that again is leaning to finding your purpose and your calling. Number 7, looking back over your life up to now, do you see any repentance? Looking back over your life, do you see repeated incidents? Meaning, every time you look up, you're taking care of somebody's kids. Every time you look up, you're serving those that are going through. Every time you look up, you're attracting a certain type of person. That is a wink at your calling. When you look back over your life up until now, do you see any repeating incidents? You naturally do the thing, it doesn't bother you, you absolutely enjoy it. right? That is a part of your calling. We're talking about how do we rise in purpose and recognize the call on our life. The sooner you answer the call, the sooner you will start more purposeful when you're waking up in the morning. I'm telling you what I know. Number 8, what do you daydream or fantasize about? Have you ever said, someday I'd like to do that? What would that be? This is for my people that have narrow thinking. You're defining your life based on what's in front of you. And then you kicking it with people on that level where nobody's stretching. You got to get to a point where you cannot rely on people to gas you up. When I had a date with the millennials yesterday, my whole world opened up. I'm like, what you doing for your birthday? Oh, I'm going to Hawaii. This much you going for real? Yes, I got this. I got this. I'm like, wow, that's great. Okay, the other birthday girl, where y'all going? Oh, we going to Mexico. Really? They have forward thinking. I said earlier, none of them cashing out on credit cards. They putting in work in their businesses. We saw, we laughed because the little bougie place they took us to for breakfast. I'm over here like I'm 51 now. Can we go to Denny's or IHOP or whatever? They like, no, we want to take you here. And in that environment, there's people in that space, and a lot of them in the home health industry, right? My daughters and all the friends in medical home industry. So we was laughing because there was like clearly some potential clients. And they were like, you got your business cards with you? I said, I never leave home without it. Because I know when I wake up in purpose, my prayer is, Lord, put me in the presence of somebody who need to know what you put inside of me exists. I am the answer to someone's prayer. And that's how you need to rise up. You don't have to have a card. This is your card right here. Encouraging people. If you're getting through some of the systems and the things going on in schools, how are you maintaining your cool? Okay, your child has special needs. How are you navigating all of that, right? Plus navigating the house and all of that. Then you use that gift and say, Lord, put me in the presence as I rise up for you. People, name the number, call that number out. I usually say, Lord, put me in the presence of 10 people that need to know that what I have to offer is going to be an answer to their prayer. And they cracked us. They're like, Mama got her cards. When you buy business cards, they're not to sit up in your glove compartment. They're not to sit up in your car. They're not to sit up on your desk at work or at home. It's if you invested in that marketing, chances are you want other people to have it, right? And if you sit up here and tell me, oh, well, girl, I forgot, then you're not hungry. Because now you got to train yourself as a CEO, whether you made profits yet or not, that this has to come with me because your card is not going to make the sale for you. People want to know if you can solve an issue for them and can you solve it quickly. And if you constantly buying stuff, thinking, well, if I buy this and buy that, that's going to give me a sale. No, you got to start right here before you even go get a card. If you on here, you don't have a business card, or if you don't even know if you want to do business, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a matter if you want to do business or not. You're doing business anyway. But more than likely, you're doing it for other people. You can be a massive affiliate queen. Well, where you get the shirt from, go over here. Here's a link. They asking you who did your earrings and necklace. Okay, go over here. Well, where do I go to fill out an application for this? Get affiliate links. That's something simple. You do it anyway. People come to you, pick your brain for stuff, but you giving it out. When that is a monetizable business stream for you, so you can serve more impactfully for years and years to come. All right. So making sure that what you daydream and fantasize about and your someday to do that thing is today. Even if we walk into our awareness, we just have a few more to go. Can you think about a time when you were watching or reading about another person's accomplishment and wish you could do that? Whether they're alive or passed on to glory, you admire them. I want you to think about, what do I admire about that person? I have a lot of people that I admire for different things. And I'll give you an example. Whoopi Goldberg is a person that I admire. How she shows up on The View in her comfortable gear, her dreads. Now she just had surgery on her eyes, so she's not wearing her glasses as much. She come in her Crocs and her tennis shoes and her oversized shirt and jeans, right? The other people, they show up in the way that honors them. I can resonate with Whitney because I love the eclectic part of who I am. If I want to go heavy on the heels and the blazers and do my thing, I give myself permission to do that. But cool, like a girl get down in her Chuck Taylors. And that's just the bottom line. I didn't need a Whitney Goldberg to validate that for me all my life. On some level, I knew fit. Oh, some of you guys can relate. Some of your breakdown and your deficit driven thoughts about yourself could be that you're trying to fit a mold that the world set for you. But when you're free, you understand freedom is going to cost you something. But it's also going to lend you a level of freedom where people like, oh, well, you should do this and you should do that. Well, what I tell people, don't allow people permission to speak all over and through your life. If they don't have, and this is why you hear me say, when I'm coaching with clients, do I have permission to share this with you? And they're like, yes. When they're investing, they're paying for me to get in their business so they can take care of business. But just when we live streaming and we have clients, potential clients, and we're talking, you need to start expanding your knowledge and the way you be. And that could look like, you know what? I'm not a big fan of unsolicited advice. I appreciate what you're doing, but I just, on my journey, I'm just not a big fan of chronic unsolicited advice. Meaning the person that want to speak over your life, telling you all these things you should do, and they don't even have anything that you admire. And it's not like being mean, it's just protect your spirit and protect where you're going. Because the person that know the right plays never played the game. Have you noticed? The person that's the most perfect ideal parent, which don't exist, by the way, is the one that never had kids. And if you're not rooted, you taking that information in. All right. Number 10, do you have a sense that you have things yet to accomplish? Try to identify those from the perspective of being at the end of your life and looking back. What will it feel like for you if you never attempted the thing that you were supposed to do? And some of you guys can say right now, you don't feel fulfilled because you've been putting it off. And like I said earlier, you feel more fulfilled when you're operating in your purpose. Your mood is better. Your mental wellness is stable. You're making decisions from a space of purpose and not just out of obligation. So make sure you're leaning into the sense of, I know I'm supposed to be doing this thing, but maybe you just don't know how. And that's where I come in and help guide you in that process. It's kind of work you could not fail, and money was not an issue. I want you to think really big. Would you work on saving the environment? Will you be a social justice advocate? Would you be an artsy person? Would you open up a intentional group home, a shelter for kids? Whatever it is that the heart-centered person yearns to do that I attract, you are heart-centered. You are a servant. You're called for this. But let's work a little bit more intentional now. And if you knew that money wasn't an issue or that you couldn't fail, because failures are not really failures, there's opportunity for improvements. You learn from them and you grow. And when you start to think big and start moving in the circles that I was telling you about, God will bring a resource to the person that you never even thought of. Like we talked about, a younger person, an older person, a retired person, a person that's just getting started, person that, I have some amazing friends and investors. And part of what they do is help people get their portfolios together. So when they're presenting your business or nonprofit to a investor, it is well thought out. And that individual investor, they invest because they're trying to invest in social cause to kind of bypass some of the taxes and all of that, right? So it's just a matter of putting it out there, putting it on paper, flushing it out. You will be amazed. All God is asking you to do is show up. He will bring about the increase. He will bring about the resources that you need. I know that for sure. And that's one of the things, many things that when you come into a coaching experience with me, I will be on a journey with you, giving you a lot of resources that I have in my purse and pulling them out during the time that we're on a journey to do so. The last one is, what do you want to be remembered for? How will you have contributed to the world? And what I'm telling people now, especially the grandparents out there, wouldn't it be amazing that you can experience the fruit while you're alive? And while you hear me say that my grandkids is the boss of me, my Lele is the administrative queen that loves to schedule my clients to put their names and phone numbers in. She reminds me of my day, even if her with her being in another state. Grandma, how did your day go with such and such? Did you remember that appointment? And she's paid. She's compensated. Even if it's Starbucks, we're addicted to Baskin and Robin and all of that. Is legacy building while alive. And yes, do she type the things a little bit wrong? Yeah, but she know how to edit, and that's that. What we said earlier, investing in younger people. That's the resources you have for you. Okay, put in that upfront investment. You will have all kinds of increase on the other side. So when you're thinking about your calling, I want you to be mindful that your calling and your purpose and why you were tapped on the shoulder to wake up is bigger than you and I. Somebody's breakthrough is connected to your obedience and going forth in your gifts. All right. So I'll see you on the next video. If you need any type of support or guidance, talktotasha.com. You can get a link and we can get that call. Okay. I'll see you guys on the next one.